This is a special event. It is the Heisman Trophy of defense. It is the award that gives back to a side of the ball that doesn't get as much glory. Thank you, Charlotte.
What a high level of excellence Bronco Nagurski brought to the game. He's an inspiration to anyone who loves the game of football.
My football story is not about playing for the Carolina Panthers. My football story is from the time I was 5 years old, all I ever wanted to do was play for Wayne Hills High School in northern New Jersey.
I was a part of something, and the purpose of what we were working for was greater than any one of us.
We come out every day to compete, and the only way we can get better is we, compete against each other hard.
It's important to note that sometimes the signs that we ask for are right there in front of us. Win or lose, there was always a message in there. It's about what we do with the adversity we face.
You can have a dream, but you better be prepared for that opportunity.
It's a lot of hard work. I mean, it's nothing is given. I mean, you have to earn everything.
Honored to be here today. You do such wonderful work. The funds you raise for scholarships around the area, that's wonderful.
A very heartfelt thank you to members of the Touchdown Club for your support of 16,000 plus students who you all are impacting annually. Studies show that GPAs and graduation rates are higher, absences and dropout rates are lower.
What I've learned in my life is you can accomplish anything in this world. If you want to do something bad enough, you'll find a way.
But it's important that everybody in this room and beyond understands that it starts with us. You see these kids on the come up, you gotta let them know.
Football was a gladiator sport. Only gladiators played football.
Tonight, you are going to get a glimpse of excellence of our finalists and what they have brought to this game. Their dedication, passion, and brute strength, along with their ability to make key plays during crucial moments in big games.
Growing up around the game, I have a deep and abiding respect for those who have paved the way. Bronco Nagurski was a true pioneer of our game.
One more introduction to do before we get to our keynote speaker, Coach Mike Ditka. He's our coach right here of the Carolina Panthers, led this team in his third year to a 12-4 record. NFC South Division Championship, of course, this year. Played for Coach Ditka, of course, on the Super Bowl XX championship team with the Chicago Bears. Welcome the coach of the Carolina Panthers, Ron Rivera.
Thank you. It most certainly is an honor to be here because I do have the honor of introducing our guest speaker today. But before I do that, let me talk a little bit about Mike Ditka. Coach was born in the Aliquippa, Pennsylvania area, western part of Pennsylvania. Known for its steel mills, its iron, its tough life, produces tough people. Coach had an opportunity to leave that area and went to the University of Pittsburgh, where he played 3 sports, football, basketball, and baseball. He was an All-American in football. In 1961, the Chicago Bears drafted him in the first round, where he was the NFL's Rookie of the Year. He started there for 5 more seasons as an All-Pro. In 1967, he was traded to Philadelphia, played there for 2 seasons, and then finished his career with the Dallas Cowboys, where he won a Super Bowl. After playing, he immediately started his coaching career. In 1988, Coach was inducted into the NFL Pro Football Hall of Fame. He has won a Super Bowl as a player, an assistant coach, and a head coach, one of the few to do that. I had the great fortune of playing for Coach Ditka from 1984 to 1992. In my 9-year NFL career, I had a lot of fun. I had a great time. But I also learned a lot of things, a lot of lessons that I use today as a head coach, many things. One of the things that I learned from Coach was be honest, be upfront, be demanding, but be fair. He was very, very blunt. Believe me, he really was. He also had the creed of tell them what they need to hear, not what they want to hear. He had a way of telling you. He never asked a player to do anything that he never did as a player. And remember, he was a Hall of Famer, so his standard was very, very high. Also, because he played the game and he was a player, he knew. He just knew. He understood, but he knew. In 1988, training camp, Platteville, Wisconsin, A little after curfew, a crew of us decided we're going to skip out. Don't any of you guys get any ideas? But a crew of us decided to skip out and go to the local VFW. We get in there, we're having some beers, playing a little bit of pool. All of a sudden, the cocktail waitress comes over and she's got a tray of beers. So we all reach for money, say, here we got it. She goes, oh, no, they're from the coach. We froze. So he comes over, he starts talking, and I'm thinking, okay, it's a trap. He's gonna get us all of us. But he starts talking, starts BSing with us, grabs the pool cue, starts to play a little pool. Then at about 1 o'clock, he looks at his watch and he says, I don't know you men, but we got practice tomorrow. See you on the field. So we get up in the morning, 8:30, we're out on the field, we're getting ready for practice. He calls the team up, and I go, here it comes. He's going to kill us. I mean, but he knew, he had a way of doing this to you. He gets him, he starts talking about opportunities, he's talking about chances, and he starts talking about if you're going to go out and hoot with the Owls, you better soar with the Eagles during the day. Man, we practiced our butts off. We got the message. It was one of the best practices we had had. And believe me, there are a lot of great lessons I learned. Some were easy and some were hard, but I learned them. And at the end of the day, we didn't want to let him down because we respected Coach Ditka. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, Mike Ditka.
In the late 50s, a bigger, fiercer strain of cat appeared in a Panther uniform. A player so tough that in the Steel City they chose to call him Iron Mike. Mike Ditka was an intense, tenacious competitor, by far the toughest end to tackle in the country. But at Pitt, it was also his defensive play that helped earn him All-American recognition.
I was really, probably a little better defensive player than I was an offensive player. The attitude of a defensive player is a little more aggressive, and that helped me on offense, too. I think that's the way you approach blocking, that's the way you approach catching the ball and running over people and everything else. Catching the ball means very little if you don't enjoy running with it, and I think it becomes a competitive one-on-one thing that you really don't want one person to bring you down.
Ditka was a three-sport star at Pitt, also lettering in baseball and basketball, and went on to have a Hall of Fame playing career in the NFL. Oddly enough, his high school coach had expected it to turn out rather differently.
I wanted to be a dentist. That seemed to be the vogue thing to do at those days.
But instead of filling cavities, Mike Ditka caught passes for the Chicago Bears, and a career bond was formed.
They had a very tough image. You take no prisoners, you put a chip on your shoulder. All the things I thought football was supposed to be, they portrayed. I mean, they were some mean guys. I mean, they were tough and they played tough.
The Steeltown kid fit right in and went on to revolutionize the tight end position in pro football.
Tight ends, when I came into the game, were kind of an extension of the offensive tackle. They blocked most of the time. I caught 12 passes my senior year in college. 12. I caught 58 my first year in pro ball and 12 touchdowns.
He was the NFL Rookie of the Year in 1961 and played in 5 Pro Bowls his first 5 seasons, prompting high praise from his legendary coach, George Halas.
He told me that he was paying me more than any player he ever paid outside of Red Grange, which is an outright lie.
In 1963, Ditka helped Halas's Bears win their first NFL title since 1946. A year later, his 75 catches were the most ever by a tight end in a 14-game season. But after 6 years in Chicago, Ditka fell into disfavor with the Bears and was sent packing to Philadelphia, where his career suddenly seemed like a root canal. Help arrived in the form of a 1969 trade to Dallas. There, Iron Mike teamed up with Tom Landry. He spent his final 4 seasons as a player catching passes for the Cowboys, including this one in Super Bowl VI, helping Landry's team win a world championship. It was during his tenure as a Dallas assistant that Ditka reached back to his pro football roots.
I wrote a letter to him and I said, listen, I know that you're not looking for a coach. I said, but if you ever are, I said, I would hope you would consider me.
Ditka reshaped the Bears in his own image. The 1985 team was particularly scary.
Once the Bears started rolling in '85, everybody caught it. We believed we were that tough. There was a great feeling of confidence that came in the whole organization.
Mike Ditka's Monsters of the Midway won 18 games and lost only once en route to a world title.
I was the right guy for that job at the right time, period, because it meant something to me.
His next job didn't go quite so well.
I think you understand right now. I tell you, fellas, I've been around a long time. I think we became a team today. We became a team.
The New Orleans Saints never did turn things around with Mike in charge. So, after 3 seasons, Ditka departed coaching for good.
Don't change it. Rob, run it.
His emotions always bubbled near the surface. But beneath the steel-town tough exterior lived a fun-loving extrovert, capable of dispensing criticism or concern with equal ease. A man who used the podium that his celebrity afforded him to champion the cause of retired players and to remind the present generation of their obligations. Mike Ditka gave his all to everything he did. Aliquippa, Pennsylvania may have lost a good dentist, but pro football gained a true Hall of Famer.
Well, I want to tell you one thing. Hello, I'm Johnny Cash. I always wanted to do that. I watched him the other night on TV. The story is like, hello, I'm Johnny Cash. That's why we're black, see. You people don't need a speech after listening to all that BS, believe me, but it's been a hell of a run. You know, it's been a good life, and you know, I could talk to you about a million things. I'm going to say, you know, that it was basically in there. I came to the Bears in 1961. Hallis hired me as a football player. I had 6 great seasons with the Bears. We won a championship. And he got tired of my act, and he shipped me right off to Philadelphia. And I say, and I deserved to be traded, but I got to Philadelphia. It was miserable. Not because it was Philadelphia or the Eagles, because it was me. I was going to retire from football, actually. I went back to my home in Chicago. I'm going to retire, and I got a phone call from a man, and out of the cold blue, nothing. He said, Mike, he said, and this is what he said. He said, Mike, I don't know if you can play football or not anymore, but I just traded for you. And that was Tom Landry. And, you know, that wasn't very motivational, so... But I went to Dallas, and I got in the best shape of my life, and it'll never show in the record books, but I was a better player in Dallas than I was in Chicago. For this reason, I was totally a team player in Dallas, because we had a lot of good players. We had a great coach. So I had 2, you know, my parents were instrumental in my life. My dad was the toughest guy I ever knew. He kicked my ass rather than look at me, so, but I had a great high school coach, Carl Ashman, who encouraged me to stay when I was too small and I wanted to quit. He had stayed with me. Sophomore year, I weighed 120 pounds. I got my ass kicked. He said, stick around, you'll get bigger. My junior year, I weighed 170 pounds, and I kicked the other guy's ass, so it was good. And then I went to Pitt, had a great coaches there. It was wonderful. But the thing with the Bears was pretty special. I mean, he hired me to be a player, and then later in 1982, he hired me to be the head coach of the Bears. So Hallis hired me twice, and Landry hired me twice. Tom hired me as a player in 1969, and then he hired me as an assistant coach in 1972, and I stayed all those years. So there's people that are in your life for reasons, and you know, I mean, I've had a lot of heroes. I grew up as a baseball fan, big baseball fan. My all-time hero was Stan Musial. Stan Musial was from Donora, Pennsylvania. I was from Malaquippa. Stan Musial, still, in my opinion, well, I had a few favorites, but he was one of them. Willie Mays, Stan Musial, that was baseball. I mean, I just enjoyed it so much. So, and I got some autographed things from Stan. I was thinking about that when I was signing things today. My grandkids are going to have a ball when I'm gone, I'll tell you that, because it's pretty special stuff. But, you know, life is not what you want it to be, it's what you make it. You know, you got a guy here, Ron Rivera, came down here, and I don't know what the expectations are, but I know what his are. And that's all that counts. He's going to bring you a championship. And that's what this is all about. You get in the game to be the best, and you play to be the best, and you practice to be the best. And if you're not willing to do that, do something else. Don't waste your time. It's not worth it. The whole idea of life is be as successful and achieve as much as you can achieve. Don't listen to what others tell you about your limitations, what you could do or should do or can't do. You do what you want to do, but you have to work for it. You know, my philosophy is based on a thing called ACE, A-C-E. I think things that are important in life, the most important to me is the attitude of the individual. If you got a good attitude about life, and it's positive, you got a chance to achieve anything. If you got a bad attitude and you're negative, you got a chance to achieve nothing. Besides that, you'll be a pain in the ass to be around. And it's that simple. And the C could stand for a lot of things. I think it stands for the word character. What is character? Well, character is a little different than reputation. Reputation is simply what people think you are. Character is what you really are. It's what you stand for, what you believe in. It's the foundation on which your moral code is built on. It's the most important thing you have. It's a great story. I read it years ago about a golfer. And his name was Bobby Jones, and he was playing golf in the U.S. Open at that time. And he hit a golf ball that went into the rough. And as he addressed the golf ball to hit it to the green, he perceived the ball to move. Now, nobody saw the ball move. The caddy didn't see it move. None in the gallery. Nobody saw it move. The officials, nobody. But he thought the ball moved, so he hit the ball. He finished the hole, finished the tournament, and he told him, he went in and he told him what happened. And so they have to, the rules of golf are simple. You're assessed the penalty. So he was assessed the penalty and lost the U.S. Open that year by one shot. Well, here's my thing. Who would have known? Who would have ever known? Only one person would have known. That was Bobby Jones. That takes guts. That's something special. Nobody would have known. He could have got away with it, and he didn't. So when you talk about that's what character is, it's knowing what is right and doing what is right. That's what's popular, not what's politically correct, what's right. And you got to make up your mind about right and wrong. Because I'll tell you something about wrong. If it was wrong 50 years ago, I'll guarantee you it's still wrong. It's not right because we got to make an allowance for this or that. It doesn't work that way. It's not going to be that way. And the last thing I think is the E could stand for a lot of things. But I think it stands for enthusiasm. You got to get excited about life. You got to get excited about what you're doing, the opportunities we have. The only thing we're guaranteed, there's no guarantee of you're going to get anything out of life except an opportunity. And you got to see it that way. And if you don't perceive life as an opportunity to make yourself better and make your family better, then you're missing the boat. Because there's no guarantee. Nobody's going to give us a darn thing. You know, I read a poem years ago called The Man in the Mirror, or The Person in the Mirror. And it goes like this. It says, when you get what you want in your struggle for life and the world makes you king for a day, go to the mirror and look at yourself and see what that person has to say. For it isn't your husband, mother, father, or wife on whose judgment you must pass, but the one who counts most in your life is the one looking back from the glass. He said, you may fool the whole world down the pathway of years and get pats on your back as you pass, but your final reward will be heartaches and tears if you have cheated the man in the glass. Now, what's that saying? To thine own self be true. And excuse me, if my tooth flies out, I loosened it so it could pop out of. And no suits if it hits you. But anyway, to me, it's nothing about ego. We got to know who we are. We got to believe who we are. We got to like who we are if we're going to get along in this life with other people. That's important. And so I don't have a lot. I can answer a million questions because it would be easier. I want to read you one thing because I can't remember all this stuff. I mean, I know I look smart, but I'm dumber than I look. And I got one thing I want to read you, and it's kind of interesting because I came across this years ago, and I don't know, some people may not agree with this, but we live in a different society today than I grew up in, and whatever you want to call it, for whatever reason, maybe we don't encourage people to do all they should, to work as hard as they can, to make as much of themselves as possible. Like I said, I have a lot of heroes in life. One of my heroes was Abe Lincoln. He was the 16th president of the United States, and he was an interesting guy. He was a really interesting guy. What this guy did has never been done in the history of this country because he had the guts, the courage, understanding of right and wrong. And he knew that all men were created equal in the eyes of God. So, because he believed this country went to war with itself, and ultimately he lost his life over that belief. So his greatness, whether you diminish it or you embrace it or whatever you want to do, it's pretty special to me. But he made a speech in 1861. And it's a pretty interesting speech because I came across it, and this is, I didn't make this up, this is on here. That's his picture, see? But here's what he said. Listen to what he said. He said, you cannot bring about prosperity by discouraging thrift. He said, you cannot strengthen the weak by weakening the strong. He said, you cannot help the wage earner by pulling down the wage payer. He said, you cannot further the brotherhood of man by encouraging class hatred. He said, you cannot help the poor by destroying the rich. He said, you cannot keep out of trouble by spending more than you earn. He said, you cannot build character and courage by taking away man's initiative and independence. And he said, and ultimately, he said, you cannot do for men what they could and should do for themselves. I don't know, maybe you don't agree with it, I do. I think it's our job to help, to encourage, to help people make their lives better. I think the greatest feeling you have in life is when you achieve things through hard work and effort and sweat and toil. And the things you're given, not that you will never appreciate them, you will appreciate them, but you won't appreciate them for a long time. Things you earn, you go out and you work for, you appreciate your whole life. To me, I just think that, and I'm going to get into the political thing, but I think that we got to get this across to the youth in our country. The harder you work, the better chance you have of succeeding, the better chance you have of moving up in life. That's all there is to it. It doesn't work any other way, guys. And I know that this is different. I'm at the 3/4 pole now. You know, I'm winding it down. So I'm just saying that it's a little different for me. I was just a child out of World War II, and my dad came back, he was a Marine, so I understood a little bit of that, and then I went through all the other things when the unpopular wars we had in Korea and everywhere else. So, but I'm an American. I love this country. I want what's best for this country, and I know all you do. Can I read you one thing? This might take about 5 minutes, okay? And then I'll get the hell out of here. I think friendship is a wonderful thing. If you got friends, cherish them, appreciate them, enjoy them, and tell them that you love them. I got this from my best friend. It's called, And Then It's Winter. He said, you know, time is a way of passing quickly and catching you unaware of the passing years. It seems like yesterday that I was young, just married and embarking on my new life with my mate. Yet in a way, it seems like years ago. and I wonder where all the years have gone. I know I lived them. I have glimpses of how it was back then, of all my hopes and dreams. But here it is, the back nine of my life. And it catches me by surprise. How did I get here so fast? Where did the years go and where did my youth go? I remember vividly seeing older people through the years and thinking that these older people were years away from me and that they were old people. I was only on the first hole, and the back nine was so far off that I couldn't imagine it. But here it is. My friends are all retired and getting gray. They move slower. I see an older person now. Some are in better shape, some in worse shape, but I see great change. Not the ones I remember who were so young and vibrant. But like me, their age is beginning to show. And we are now the older folks that we used to see and never thought we'd become. Each day now I find it's taking a shower is a real target for the day. And taking a nap is not a treat anymore, it's mandatory. Because if I don't of my own free will, I just fall asleep where I sit. And I will say this, I'll interrupt it. I am a professional sleeper right now. So now I enter a new season of my life. I'm prepared for all the aches, the pains, the loss of strength, the ability to do things I wish I had done but never did. But at least I know that though I'm on the back nine, I'm not sure how long it'll last. But when it's over on this earth, it's over. A new adventure will begin. Yeah, I have regrets. There are some things I wish I hadn't done. There are some things I should have done. But indeed, there were many things I'm happy to have done. It's all in a lifetime. So if you're not on the back nine yet, let me remind you that it'll get here faster than you think. So whatever you like to accomplish in your life, do it. Don't put things off too long. Life goes by quickly. You got no guarantees. So do what you can do today. You can never be sure whether you're on the back nine or not. You have no promise that you will see all the seasons of your life. So live for today and say all the things you want your loved ones to remember, and hope that they appreciate and love you for all the things that you have done for them in all the years past. Life is a gift to you. The way you live your life is your gift to those who come after. Live it well, enjoy today, do something fun, be happy, have a great day. Remember, it is health that is the real wealth and not pieces of gold or silver. Live happily in 2014. Lastly, considering the following. Your kids are becoming you, but your grandchildren are perfect. Going out is good. Coming home is better. You forget names, but it's okay because most other people forget who you are. You realize you're never going to be good at anything, especially golf. The things you used to care about, you no longer care about. But you really do care about the fact that you don't care about them anymore. You sleep better in a lounge chair with the TV on than in bed. It's called pre-sleep. You miss the days when everything worked with an on and off switch. You tend to use four-letter words more. When, what? But now you can afford expensive jewelry. It's not safe to wear it anywhere. You notice everything they sell in stores is now sleeveless. What used to be freckles or liver spots, everybody whispers. So you have three sides of the clothes in your closet, two of which you'll never wear. But old is good in some things. Old songs, old movies, best of all, old friends. Stay well, old friend. Send this to another old friend and let them laugh in agreement. It's not what you gather, but what you scatter that tells what kind of life you've lived. Today is the oldest you've ever been. It's also the youngest you'll ever be. So enjoy this day. God bless. Now, if you got some questions about anything, because I'm really good at this stuff. You may not agree with a damn thing I say, but any questions? Because you make my job very easy. Just fire them out. Yes, sir. Well, you know, you go through all the seasons of your life. You know, when you're young and you're robust and you're healthy and you're physical, you want to play the sport, whether it's baseball, football, basketball, hockey, tennis, whatever you want to play, golf. And as you get older, you realize that you can't do that. So I was fortunate that I was able to work for a man named Tom Landry. Tom Landry was a special man. You know, him and Lombardi, you know, both coached with the Giants back in the 50s. And Coach Lombardi went to Green Bay, and Coach Landry went to Dallas. And their lives were based on three things. Now, whether you want to believe this or not, I really don't give a damn, but it was based on three things. Their faith in God, their family, and the values of the family. And I forgot, and football. That's true. It came in that order. And you got to understand, there's got to be more to a guy. Lombardi, when he went to Green Bay, they stunk. When Landry went to Dallas, they stunk. There was nothing there. They built it. They made them believe. They made them understand that there was light at the end of the tunnel, but the price that you were going to pay was going to be significant. You were going to have to work your tail off. It's that simple. When people say, hey, I'm going to give you this or I'm going to give you that, be careful. Be careful. We say, people come up and say, listen, here's what we can get. We can get this done if we do this together. Now you got something going. So, you know, when I think about Coach Landry all the time, think of Coach Hallis all the time. Coach Hallis was an amazing man. Think about this. This guy persevered. He robbed Peter to pay Paul. Because of him, the National Football League is what it is today. One of five guys, Rooney, Mara, him, a couple others, that was it. He didn't have any money. And I found that out when I started playing for him. My first contract with the Bears, as the fifth player picked in the first round in 1961, was $12,000 with a $6,000 signing bonus. Well, listen to this. Count that, 12 and 6. Figure it, remember, don't forget that figure. So I made All-Pro that year. I made Rookie of the Year. I did everything. Had a great year. Not because I had a good teammate. I had a quarterback like to throw the ball to me. That really helped. But so there were no multi-year contracts, so you go in at the end of the year and you talk to Mr. Hallis. And I sit down at the desk right across from him, and I look at him, and he looks at me, and exactly just what he said, kid, he called everybody kid, he said, you had a good year. He said, you know, but he said, you broke curfew 3 times. And I did, and he fined me $500 each time. In 1961, that was a hell of a lot of money. So I said, yeah, I did. So then, but after he read off all this junk on this piece of paper he had everything written down. He said, but I'm going to give you a raise. I said, oh, great, that's good to hear. He said, I'm going to pay you $14,000 this year. I said, Coach, you got to be kidding. He said, no, I'm going to pay you 14. I said, that's impossible. I said, I made 18 last year. You're giving me a pay cut. He said, no, you made 12. I said, no, I made 18. I said, the 12 and the 6 were 18. I said, I'd be damned if I signed for a penny less than 18. As soon as I said it, he opened the drawer, pulled out a contract for $18,000, and I signed it. That's a true story. That is a true story. But it doesn't matter. When he hired me to be the coach, I didn't give a damn what he paid me. I never worried about a contract when I was coaching. I never made any money coaching at the Bears, any money, really significant money at all. I didn't care because the opportunity is all you want in life. It's nothing else. A chance. And Ron wasn't there in the beginning, but in the beginning, I told the football team in 1982 when I got there, I got good news and bad news. The good news is we're going to win the Super Bowl. The bad news is a lot of you guys aren't going to be here. And I didn't say it to be cruel. I said it to be factual. Because there were a lot of people who weren't willing to pay the price that it would take to accomplish what my goals were. And I learned all this from Hallis and Landry and what Lombardi did up in Green Bay. There's so many guys. Bill Walsh. Listen, I had to coach against Bill Walsh all the time. I got my ass kicked so much it got bothersome. I mean, I think of the guys, I think of my life. I got to coach against Don Shula. Hello. You know, I mean, these are the best in the business. I can go on and on. Bart Starr. So many coaches that came in. Joe Gibbs. I mean, my God, there's so many of them. It's unbelievable. I can't remember them all. So I've had a blessed life. The ups, the downs, you know, it's okay. You know, but I don't know that I've ever been down. I've been rebounding a few times, but never down. So if anybody has any question about anything pertinent.
Good.
Coaching again. You got to be silly. No, you got a great coach here. I have no desire to coach anymore. You know, you're in a place at a time for a reason. After that, it's over. I'm on the back nine, man. I'm trying to make a putt. Anybody? Well, you know, everybody to their own. And let me say that we've been doing a lot of work with the Gridiron Greats, trying to help some of the old players. I do believe the league has a big responsibility. I really do in this thing. And I think that they ought to own up to it. There's a lot of money being made, and I don't begrudge anybody anything. But I think that you got to look at the game of football today and what it's evolved into, and a big money maker it is, and a big business. It started somewhere, and it started with all these guys through the years that not only that I played and coached and watched, these players are part of it. Some of these guys have fallen on hard times due to injuries, and I think they deserve help. The new suit being filed by three of the Bear players, former Bear players, Richard and Jim and Van Horn, Keith. See, I don't know too much about that. When I was a player, if I wanted to take a pill and I knew it was an upper, whatever you call an upper or Benny, I took it. Nobody told me to take it. Nobody forced me to take it. I had ways of getting it if I wanted it. I didn't have to go to anybody and say, well, I knew how to get one. Did I ever take one? Yeah. Did I take them for long? No. But my problem with this is, I think we all understand football is a tough sport. If you play it long enough, I'll guarantee you one thing, you're going to get hurt. You're going to get hurt. It's just a tough game. I've had 4 hip replacements, shoulder done, a foot done. You saw me come up those stairs. It gets scary. You got to see me bend over to get the ball out of the hole. But no, it's, I could go on. I don't know what's right or wrong about it anymore. I don't know who has this obligation. I think that people, you got to look in the mirror, like I said, and you got to, if I got an obligation to do this and help them, if I'm an owner, I would do it. If I'm not, if they feel they don't have any obligation or responsibility, that's their business too. I don't know where this lawsuit's going to go. Like, I don't know how we're going to make it with Gridiron Grace. I know I just looked at my calendar. I got to go to Las Vegas next week. I'm going to be out there with a couple of my old buddies. So we're going to honor Mike Lucci, who played for the Lions, who's one of my dear friends I grew up with, and Paul Horning, who is everybody's friend. So we're going to honor a couple guys out there and try to raise some money for the Gridiron Grace. But that's what we do. That's all it is. Anybody else real quick?
One last question. One. All right.
Oh, boy. Well, this is going to end. My favorite team growing up, is what he asked, was the St. Louis Cardinal baseball team because of Stan Musial. But in football, there was a guy who played for the Philadelphia Eagles named Steve Van Buren, and I love Steve Van Buren. So I was an Eagle fan when I was a kid. Then when I got to the Eagles, I wasn't an Eagle fan. God bless you. Thank you.
Coach Mike Ditka.